we are looking at the complement pathways. So the complement pathways, so firstly there's a classical pathway, and then comes the MV lengthen pathway, lectin pathway, and then comes the alternative pathway. So here the classical pathway leads to the immune complex, and next the MB lectin pathway, it leads to the microbial surfaces, and then comes the alternative pathway. This leads to the microbial surfaces. So now moving ahead, the classical pathway, it leads to the immune complex, and this immune complex, it leads to the activated C1. Next, if you see the MB lengthen pathway, it leads to the microbial surfaces, and this leads to the mannose binding lectin. So this leads to the mannose binding lectin. Whereas if you see the alternate pathway, it leads to the microbial surfaces, and this leads to C3. So if you see this activated C1, it leads to the C4B2A, and this mannose binding lectin, it acts on this, as well as there is the addition of the C4 and the C2. Next, if you see the microbial surfaces, the C3, it leads to the C3BBB. And there are other add-ons such as the factor B. There is the factor D, as well as the properdin. So now we have seen that ultimately it is the C4B. We saw it is the C4B2A and the C3BBB. So this acts on the C3 convertase. So it acts on the C3 convertase, and next what we see is the C3, it is converted to the C3B, and the C3 is converted to C3B as well as the C3A. So this C3B, it is divided into C4B2A C3B as well as C3B BB C3B. And now this acts on the C5 convertase. It acts on the C5 convertase. So this C5, there is again the C5 which is converted to the C5B as well as the C5A. So next, the C5B, it goes to the C5B C9, and then there is a membrane attack complex, and this leads to the cell lysis.